Hello, workmates. Welcome to Work and Talk in PH, your go to podcast for lifestyle insights, career convos, and real estate realness, where chill convos meet real life lessons because it works.
I'm Alexa, and today we're talking about tech that actually solves problems and drives growth. And our guest knows a thing or two about making that happen. He's one of the founders of XScribe Solutions, a company helping businesses transform the way they work. Please welcome PJ Baterina. PJ, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Alexa.
So how are you today naman po?
Doing well, but it's almost the end of the week, so I have no more voice. Sorry
Oh yeah,
for
it's
that.
Friday. It's okay naman po. So okay, let's start from the beginning. What led you into the world of tech and business development?
Well, just to give a context as well, before I joined tech, I was also in the field of real estate. I was with Colliers for 6 years, and I was with Mega World for 2 years, so roughly for 8 years. And
Real
before
estate.
that, my course was really more of under finance. So the reason why I'm explaining this is to put into context why I joined the field of tech. And business development.
Yeah.
Well, number one, for business development, it's something that I was not used to doing in college. Is my weak point. So I wanted to
Business
delve
development.
into something that I'm not comfortable with so that I can grow as a person. And second, for the field of tech, similar, I think it's a very, very dynamic industry. So it's
Challenging.
very challenging. And I wanted to have a change in environment
Yeah.
as well. So I think since it's very exciting, I delved into the field of technology after my stay in Colliers.
Oh, so what made you want to shift from real estate to tech?
Well, when I was with Colliers, I think I was under the office services department.
Yeah.
So we were primarily assisting companies that set up in the Philippines. So mainly, this company set up in the Philippines for purpose of establishing a call center, a BPO, or a higher firm. They call it a KPO. So most of the times when they establish here, they also, or our country competes with other countries as well. Meaning when they want to put call center operations in the Philippines, we fight against China, we fight against India. So the common trend that I notice whenever they try to set up in the Philippines, if it's a call center operations, normally we get
Yeah.
the account. Because in a way, our English is better
Yeah,
than
the
the
Filipino
Indians
talent.
or the Chinese.
Yeah.
For BPO, probably 50% we would get the business. Roughly, other half would go to other countries. However, when it comes to software development or IT, most of the time, other countries would have a better capability,
They have the
advantage
advantage.
on that part. So when I saw that, and me, personally, my sister who founded the company is also in the field of software development. That's actually what prompted me to join that company, XScribe. Because I see that Filipinos have a talent in software development. Probably not as many talented individuals in the Philippines compared to India and China, but I think we have a very, very good talent pool. So that's one of the main reasons why I joined a tech company. It's to promote the software development capability or IT capability
The
of the
country.
Philippines to the whole world. So that's really the main reason
Oh.
of me joining XScribe.
That's so interesting the way you jumped from real estate to tech.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about XScribe. What was the founding vision behind it, and how did you personally help shape that direction?
The vision really of XTribe is to become one of the catalysts in making the Philippines, our country, known for its software development capabilities, aside from being one of the leading software development companies in the Philippines. So I think that's really the main vision of XTribe. X meaning the word XTribe came from X meaning variable, any. Scribe
Ooh.
means to
Right.
write. So anything that they ask us to write or anything that they ask us to code, we can actually develop it. So the vision behind incorporating that company is really to promote the capability of the Philippines when it comes to technology.
Oh yeah, like you mentioned before,
Yeah,
for the
Correct.
to highlight the talent of the Filipinos in
Correct.
software. So for those who are just hearing about XScribe for the first time, what sets you apart from other tech firms in the country?
I'm not really that sure on how, because I'm not that familiar with their vision and their mission. But again, as mentioned earlier, the vision of the XScribe is to
Yeah.
make our talent pool known to other
Global.
countries. I think the other tech firms also have the same vision, or secondary, they might have that same vision. However, in terms of capability, I wouldn't really say we're better than them. I think we're more diverse now because we're not only diving into software development, we have created our own products, we have our own design team, hardware team, and then also the outsourcing team. So I think we're more diverse compared to other tech industries because other tech industries just offer one or two service lines. But us, we try to offer the complete package of digital transformation from software development to creating our own products to the design aspect to the hardware aspect and even to the outsourcing aspect so that when companies want to transform, then we can assist them in multiple facets of the digital transformation. But I wouldn't really say that we're really that different, but I think what makes us different is our vision to make us known for that capability.
Making us globally competitive.
Correct.
Wow. So now that you've talked about more about your company, can you share a project or partnership that really shows what XScribe can do best?
Well, initially, before we expanded our service line, XScribe was the one creating the softwares of IT companies based in Singapore, Malaysia, and US. Meaning, these companies based abroad, they actually have a product that they want to develop. It's just that their developers in their country are not capable of developing those. So they outsource the development outside. So in one of the projects that we developed for a Singaporean company, technically all of the products that they have developed, almost all, were developed by XScribe. And that project, I cannot disclose because we have a confidentiality agreement with them, was publicly listed also. It was an IPO. So that product that we created for them, they made an IPO in various countries. So I think that's one of the most, in terms of external projects outside the countries, I think that's one of the things that we're really proud of being able to do. However, let me just add to that, those types of project does not really achieve the vision of XScribe, mainly because these companies in outside the country, they don't really say that this products are made by Filipinos. They would say that it's made by their own country, made by Singaporeans, made by Malaysians, or made by Americans. That's why, and we cannot really claim to have developed those because we have a non-disclosure agreement with them. That's why I'm not sure if it's going to be that or the other one. The other one is that in 2017, we created our own product. We call it an enterprise resource planning system. So the ERP technically automates the end-to-end operations of a company from finance to HR to e-commerce to CRM, everything end-to-end. So we developed that first product. Our main goal during that time was to be able to offer it as a more affordable alternative to SAP, NetSuite, and Microsoft. And we originally targeted SMEs. However, we were blessed to have... Sorry po.
It's okay.
I will have to cut that part.
It's okay. No worries.
No more voice. Ayan. But we were blessed to have gotten or onboarded large clients as well. For example, PBCom is also using our ERP. Skin Station, if you're familiar with that brand, they're using our end-to-end ERP. Their HR operations, their finance, even their e-commerce. When you want to buy products or services from them, and you want to create appointments, that's actually under our platform.
Is this something like Microsoft Office, bro?
It's not something like Microsoft Office. It's really more of like, if you're familiar with SAP and NetSuite or Microsoft. So normally when clients, because you're business, right? Management. Business economics. Management.
Same. Economics.
So in a business, when you operate a business, there are different aspects. There's the procurement aspect, the sales aspect, the billing and collection, accounts payable, inventory management, asset management, accounting, HR. So technically, the ERP essentially automates the end-to-end process. So for example, in the procurement process, typically it starts with a purchase request coming from the requestor. Then it gets translated to a bidding process, the RFQ, then the purchase order, then you receive the purchase order, then you create the request for payment and you pay for it. So the ERP for that aspect, what it does is that it automates the end-to-end process so that the coordination between the different departments are automated.
So for the business operations?
Yes, business operation.
That's so interesting. Now let's zoom out to the bigger picture naman po. In your experience, what's the biggest misconception people have about digital transformation in the Philippines?
The biggest misconception. Not sure about the biggest misconception because technically what would be? Well, one, the biggest misconception is that I'm not sure if it's a misconception, but most of the time companies would think it's very expensive to digitally transform.
In the Philippines.
Yeah, in the Philippines. However, it's not always expensive. If you find the right partner, you do it properly, then you would be able to transform properly in a more affordable way. The other part is that most companies, I wouldn't say it's a misconception because it can be true.
Yeah.
But most companies feel that it's not that easy to digitally transform. On one hand, it is correct. It's not really that easy. However, it really depends on how open a company is in transforming their business digitally. That's why I wouldn't say it's a misconception. It's true. Pero it's really dependent on how the companies would adapt to it and would accommodate that. So if they're open to it and let's say they understand the benefits in the future of digitally transforming, even though it's not that easy at the start, since it will be beneficial for them in the future, long run, then there. But I wouldn't say it's a misconception. Sometimes it's really true. It's not that easy. Sometimes it's also not that affordable to transform digitally. But it is needed.
It's important to be open to it.
Yes. Well, I think the misconception of most companies now is that yes, right now it's still optional, but eventually it's not optional anymore. Just like people need to transform in order to adapt to the changing environment. So I think personally, companies that don't digitally transform in the future, they will be left behind. Correct.
Oh, that's interesting. We really have to adapt to the current climate.
Correct.
So you work right at the intersection of business and technology, which sounds exciting, but I imagine it's also tricky. How do you make sure that innovation actually serves business needs and not the other way around?
So I think that's where the data gathering process really needs to be properly done. Sometimes people try to innovate or companies want to innovate and then they try to adapt certain technologies or certain softwares without really understanding their current process. So normally if you don't understand the current process or current needs of the company and you just jump into transforming them, then it might be harmful for them because understanding them, just like real estate, right? So it's like putting someone in a certain location without really understanding the labor pool, the budget of that business, the transportation needs of that business. So it's the same with digital transformation. You cannot just make them jump or relocate into digital transformation without understanding them. So first, really the most important and critical aspect in digital transformation is understanding how the company or how the business currently operates, understanding the capabilities of their people. Because if you don't understand their people and don't understand how they operate, then you just plug in a solution to them without understanding them, then it might be counterproductive for that company.
So it's not one size fits all.
I would say that 80% or 90% of businesses, given that they're in the same industry, would be the same with one another. However, there's a slight difference. So it can be a one size fits all, but you really need to understand their people.
Still need to understand.
So it's really more of the approach in transforming them.
Okay, so across the different industries in the Philippines, which do you see as having the biggest potential for digital transformation?
Biggest potential. That's a hard question because I think all industries need to transform. Real estate, they need to transform digitally. Distribution, they need to transform digitally. Manufacturing need to transform digitally. Logistics need to transform digitally. Even services, even retail, even construction. So I wouldn't really say that there's a specific industry that has a
This potential.
probably it would really depend on what is the biggest industry in the Philippines. So for example, in the Philippines, real estate is very big.
Yeah.
Then it has the biggest need for
Because
digital
the need.
transformation because there's
Yeah.
a lot of money involved in real estate, for example.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't really say that one industry needs it more than the other. If you look at it, real estate, distribution, logistics, manufacturing, services, they 80% of what they do are the same. So sorry, I cannot answer that really straightly,
Yeah,
but
but hard to quantify nga.
it's hard to quantify. I would have said real estate because it's a very big,
Big industry.
industry
Yeah.
before. It's really a big industry in before, and there's a lot of opportunity to save on costs because
In
the
real
operating
estate.
expenses for real
Yeah.
estate is really big. But so is construction also. If you don't transform, you wouldn't be able to manage your expenses as well. You wouldn't be
True.
able to monitor how much you're spending on a given project, and you wouldn't be able to manage your timelines as
Yeah.
well. So I think
No
everything
one
needs-
industry.
everything needs to transform.
Everyone has the potential to transform. Okay, so on a more future forward notes, are there any trends or innovations that you're particularly excited about in the next few years?
Well, I think the latest trend about tech is actually
Yeah.
AI, but it's relatively new now. It was around 1 to 2 years, but that's one of the latest trend in tech on how we can. Well, AI is part of tech, but how can AI shape the technology industry?
So how we can use it as a tool?
Well, how we can use it as a tool, or because there are two aspects to it. One is using it as a tool.
Yeah.
The other aspect is developing AI tools.
Yeah.
So there are two
Oh.
aspects to it. Developing AI tools
And
and using it as a
AI
tool.
as a tool.
Using it as a tool is fairly easy. I think it's fairly easy for people to understand
Yeah.
how to use the AI, for example, of the Adobe suites, of Canva, of course, ChatGPTs. But of course, there's also a science behind using
Yeah.
this as a tool. So, well, if you look at the industry right now, for example, the call center industry, some of the jobs have already been cut off because of AI. For example, when you look at the there's what they call QA, quality assurance for call centers, meaning whenever agents take a phone call, a person would listen to how they converse,
Oh.
and then that person would give feedback to that person on what
They
are
have to
the
improve.
improvements. But of course, AI
AI na now.
took over now. So
Oh.
no need anymore for someone to listen. The AI can actually interpret the answers, the results, and then give feedback. So that's what's interesting right now is how AI can shape the technology industry.
So do you think now that we've talked about that, do you think our current tech workforce is equipped to keep up with the pace?
In terms of development or in terms of using AI tools?
In terms of using AI tools.
Using AI tools,
Or
I
like
think-
parang in the workforce. Kunwari, like parang our jobs getting replaced by AI.
not really. Well, AI is also just a tool.
Yeah.
For the tool part, okay. So, well, yes, some jobs are being cut by AI. Just as mentioned earlier, the QA aspect, it's being cut by AI. For
Yeah.
example, for recruitment. So now, you can use AI for
AI.
recruitment. Wherein, whenever you
Submit
do
your
the
resume.
initial screening,
Oh yeah, the interviews.
initial
Parang,
interview.
yeah,
So
I've had
someone-
some of those.
for example, the accounts receivable, the collections. So instead of asking agents to call and collect, so
Yeah.
AI can replace that function as well. Wherein people do not actually know that they're talking to an AI. They think that they're talking to a person, but it's actually an AI agent that's doing the collection. So there are certain functions that might be redundated by AI.
Yeah.
But I think the main question really is, the question there, are we capable of using AI tools or keeping up? I think in terms of using AI tools, it's not hard to use.
to use na.
And then you just have to understand how to use it properly. Because For example, well, the most common now is ChatGPT.
Yeah.
But there's also a science behind the prompting, asking the right questions so that ChatGPT can provide the proper answers.
Yeah.
So in terms of using AI, I think our workforce is equipped. But when it comes to developing
The AI tools.
no.
No. Why not?
I think we're still far.
From
Not,
developing AI tools.
not even the AI aspect. When you go to other countries, when it comes to digital transformation, the Philippines is 7 to 10 years behind when it comes to technology. For example, the digital kiosk that you see in McDonald's 5 years ago, that was already available in other countries. For example, that's just one example. Those technologies were already available in other countries 7 to 10 years before we adapted to those technologies. So, for example, the NCAP, right? Those technologies were already available in Western countries 10 years ago. So, meaning, in terms of technology, we're already behind. Then, we haven't even adapted to those technologies yet that were developed way before AI. Then, jumping into AI without going through that process, I think it's like learning algebra without learning how to add.
And speaking of keeping up, there's often a gap between what schools teach and what industries need. From your perspective, what can be done to bridge the gap more effectively?
Okay, that's a good question. We also asked that question to, well, one of our clients in XScribe is one of the owners of a chain of schools that offers technology courses. So, what they also observe is that their graduates, when they graduate, they're not yet that capable in doing the things that are needed
in like jobs
in the job.
Like more applications na.
Yes. So their solution was really to be able to provide more hands-on experience when it comes to working in the workforce, like the OJT, like internship. However, when you look at the internship process, normally when you enter as an intern in a company, the company would not normally give the work they need to produce to an intern. They will just give them some test environments that they can do, not really the workforce. So I think schools can adapt to it by doing that internship program, but I wouldn't really say it's enough because learning is not just 4 years. Even after you graduate, you still continue to learn. One example for me, I'm a business graduate. In school, the things that you do in a business, the procurement function, the sales function, the inventory function, accounting function, those are things that you don't really learn from school, but you learn that after
once you start
already. So we cannot really say that by doing this in the school, people will be ready already. I think really the second step is to have a proper training program in the workforce, na. And to bridge that gap, the workforce and the school, they need to discuss, work together. So, where do you end and then where do we start? For example, for developers, my sister is, her course is also computer science. In school, they don't teach them a specific language. They teach them the foundations, and once they have a proper foundation, when you go into the workforce, they will be able to adapt. Regardless if it's something new, since you have a good foundation, you would be able to adapt.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I think the role really of the school is to prepare or create a good foundation for the workforce. Not just on a technical aspect, even the values, so on and so forth. And then, when they enter the workforce, when you enter the proper training process, since that person is already equipped with the proper foundations, regardless of what he or she
they can easily adapt na
correct
to what they do.
So there's really no shortcut. Talagang may bridge talaga.
Okay. So when you're building your own tech or development team, what skills do you prioritize, both technical and non-technical ones?
I would focus first on the non-technical. I think we really look into the values of the person.
Important.
what's really more important is the values and the attitude of the person more than the skill. Of course, the skill is also important, but with the proper attitude, that person can eventually learn. However, for the technical side, it's really more of ability to adapt and learn,
Absorb
and learn new things. Because the skills that we bring into after graduating, the skills that we bring into our workforce might not necessarily be the skills that they need right away. So you would have to learn
Adapt.
the skills that they need. So even though you don't have the skill yet, when you are able to adapt, then you would be able to learn it and then use it in the workforce. So not sure about the technical. So some would probably say that person must have a good logic, good. But I think it's really good values and also
Knowing
the
how to
ability
adapt.
to adapt. Ability to adapt.
Okay, so would you say that's one underrated soft skill that can make you stand out, like the ability to adapt?
Yes, I think that's really one of the underrated. It's not it's a skill. The ability to adapt, correct. They need to have that soft skill talaga na ability to adapt, because if their minds are open and they can learn new things, again, school is just 4 years. After that, you learn a lot of things. So once you're open, as long as you're not really, I'm used to doing it this way, then I should do it like this. But you're open to learning new things and thinking of ways on how to be able to do it faster, more efficient. I think that's really the soft skill. Open-mindedness and willingness to adapt to new things.
Oh, that's so interesting. And now, on the business side, when companies try to adopt new tech, what's a common mistake you see them make? The one you mentioned earlier.
What's a common mistake? Businesses or the provider?
Like the businesses that want new tech.
Okay, I think one of the common mistakes that they make is that sometimes they don't understand their people, that they are involving in the transformation. So if you don't understand your people that you're involving in the digital transformation, then the transformation might not be successful.
Like the one you mentioned earlier,
like
not knowing what they need and then just
not knowing what they need and not understanding their people. For example, some companies, I want to transform digitally. However, their workforce, most of them, syempre not to pero a little bit older na, So, of course, before you adapt to it, you must make sure first that your workforce is capable of adapting to that new technology.
Okay, tech is such a fast-changing field. It's easy to get swept up in trends. What keeps you grounded and motivated through all that change?
Okay. Well, for me, I think what keeps me grounded and motivated, the mind of thinking that there's still a lot of things that I do not know. So when a person thinks that he or she already knows a lot, then wala nang openness, di ba, to learn new things. Pero when you think na there's still a lot of things that I do not know, then that's what really motivates someone to learn new things and adapt to those changes.
I feel like that's such a good perspective to have talaga. It's a lifelong journey to learn.
Correct. And the humility to accept na there's always a better way to do it. So when you think that what you're doing now is already the best, then that's it, diba? You won't learn. Pero when you always have the mindset na you can still do more, you can still learn, and have the humility that what I'm doing right now is not yet the most optimal solution, but there's a better way, then yun yung magdadrive na mag-learn yung person.
Okay, and to close, hi Chris.
Almost done.
And to close, if you had to give just one piece of advice to young professionals who want to break into tech, what would it be?
Piece of advice. One piece of advice who wants to break into tech. Well, piece of advice. Well, tech is a very, very interesting field. But it's also not that easy. So one must have the patience, one must have the humility, one must have the openness and the endurance to be able to enter into the tech field. Actually, not only the tech field, all
In
fields.
any field, yeah.
A person must always have the patience to endure whatever
Especially at
pains,
the beginning.
yung pains na that comes
Yeah.
with the growth.
Yeah.
Sabi nga nila, the reason why we feel pain is because we are growing. You know, we are growing talaga. If we are not experiencing any hardship, we're not
growing.
experiencing any pain, we are not growing as a person. Even with nature, diba? Even with nature, a diamond is formed
Yeah, through pressure.
through pressure, diba? The difference between a bean sprout and a bean sprout sa loob lang. Bean tree, exposed sa labas.
All the
Maraming
elements.
mga elements, hardships. That's also with us. So, tech industry or even non-tech industry, in order for someone to grow as a person, we must really go through many hardships.
PJ, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
joining us today and giving us a clear picture of what it really means to innovate with purpose. And to everyone listening, remember, tech is just a tool. It's how we use it that creates real change. Again, I'm Alexa, and this is Work and Talk and PH, your go-to podcast for lifestyle insights, career convos, and real estate realness. Where chill convos meet real life lessons because #it works.